Yes. So now I have been reading many things online, seeing many comments online, whether IGP, that is Inspector General of Police, can stay for third term, whether the law permits him. Sincerely, you see, I don't know why the country will be peaceful. Some people want to distract us. It's very annoying. The country will be peaceful, things will be going fine, and some persons will want to distract us. Now, let's first of all lay some foundation. Who is the IGP of police? Who is the IGP of police? Who is he? Fine. If you look at section 318 of the Constitution, that is the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, it states clearly the section listed, categories of persons that qualifies as public officer, and a member that, or an officer of the Nigeria Police is among. So now it's not in that whether the IG of police is a public officer. Now, the IG of police is a public officer. So, another thing is, what does the Constitution says about public officer? The Constitution states that public officers must retire at the age of 60 or 35 years of service, whichever that comes first. 60 years at the age of 60. If you once you clock 60 years, you must retire. Or once you clock 35 years of service, whichever that comes first. Now, before now, there was no dispute, there was no challenge. The old police act, the old police act was in agreement with the constitution. There was no challenge. Fine. With the coming of the new police act 2020, it created a challenge. Why? Because that section brought in some provisions that appears of which we are embarking on a voyage of discovery, whether the provision is consistent or is in agreement with the constitution. Now, if I must paraphrase, the new police act state that the IG of police can be reappointed for a third term, can even stay for more than 60 years. I'm trying to paraphrase. Now, is that in agreement with the constitution? Of course not. It's not in agreement with the constitution. Now there's a dispute, there's a conflict, there's conflict of laws between the Police Act 2020 and the constitution, which will prevail, which will supersede, which will be supreme. Now, let's not forget that the Constitution is the font et origo, is the sources of all that laws in the country. Let's not forget that. And going by Section 1, Sub 3 of the Constitution, which covers the supremacy of the Constitution, it states that the Constitution is supreme. And if there are other laws that are inconsistent with the Constitution, those other laws shall, to its inconsistency, be null and void. That is on one hand. And again, there's this doctrine, there's this legal doctrine propounded by ICJ and some other people. That is the doctrine of covering the field. In a bit to deviate a little, whether the police act has not covered the field, whether the police act has covered the field in anything regard to police. Yes, the police has covered the field, and there's this again. There's this rule of interpretation that when there's a general law that governs a particular body, for example, the police now, and a pronouncement is made on it, there's a particular law that governs a particular sector. If there's any dispute at all, that particular law will supersede. That particular law governing, for example, let's assume now there's a law, the general law that governs how to make malt drink, for example, and there's a specific law regulating malt drink. There's a rule of law, a principle of law which state that that particular law that governs malt will cover it. It will supersede as against the general law that talks about months. Now, would that principle apply here now? No. Why? Because we are talking of supremacy of the Constitution. The new Police Act is not in accordance, does not agree with the Constitution. Now, what is the way out? There are many authorities, both Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, Attorney General of Oyo State, and others against Attorney General of Federation. Many Supreme Court authorities still talking about this supremacy. That if there's any other law that does not agree with the Constitution, that law will be null and void. Now, what is the way out? Since the Constitution, in my own opinion, Since the Police Act does not agree, it's not in agreement with the Constitution, it's not in agreement with Section 1, Sub 3, and the Constitution is supreme, the Police Act will be, to its inconsistency, be null and void. And again, there is also another dispute, another question from that end. Whether is it not a National Assembly, is it not the National Assembly that made the Police Act? Yes, we agree. But the National Assembly cannot make a law or cannot make a different law, a particular law to remedy the Constitution. No, the Constitution must be amended to accommodate that particular rascal provision. So now that the Constitution has not been amended, the Constitution is supreme, and no other law can question it. No other law can stand on its way. Any other law that stand on this way will be cowed down. We must bow for the Constitution. So the matter whether the IG can stay for a third term, in fact, has been read judicata, has been settled for many years. For many years. So that is the position. The IG cannot stay for a third term because the session of the new Police Act is not inconsistent with the Constitution and it's null and void. Thank you.